Good evening, Western Washington. Hope everybody had a nice Monday here. Doing an evening update today. So let's start by taking a look at the current satellite image, and then we'll take a look at the forecast for the next few days here. So starting with what we're looking at right now, you can see we had some thunderstorms there over the Olympic Mountains. Some of that might have actually tapped into the smoke plume from the Tunnel Creek fire up there in the northern Olympic Peninsula. You can see a little bit of smoke from some of the fires across parts of central and eastern Washington. And then take a look at all these thunderstorms with lightning strikes across far southeast Washington there, and then parts of the Oregon Cascades. Scattered clouds at times today across western Washington. Otherwise, mostly sunny from Olympia northward. So taking a look here at the fire map here, you can see Bear Gulch Fire, Tunnel Creek Fire. The Tunnel Creek Fire is new there in eastern Jefferson County, 100 acres burned so far. Taking a look at some of the other fires, Wildcat Fire, 7,700 acres, so it has definitely grown. Huge growth on the Labor Mountain Fire there in the Stewart Range, up to 3,062 acres. And the Lower Sugarloaf Fire there at 12,684 acres. And then up here in northeast Washington, the Rattlesnake Fire has the biggest growth, up to 17,700 acres, largest fire in the state of Washington right now. So there's definitely a lot burning still, even though our pattern has changed a little bit. And we're going to take a look at this through the video here to kind of see how things are going to go over the next few days, as we do still have active fire conditions, just not as much as we saw last week. So taking a look at the overall pattern, we have a trough to our south, generally calm weather across western Washington, but bringing a chance of thunderstorms for parts of the Cascades is this trough here through the next couple days. Going into the end of this week, you can see we get a little bit of ridging here that will warm us up a little bit and keep us dry, and then we do have a little bit more troughing diving to the south as we go into the upcoming weekend here. But overall, our weather remains somewhat benign here. So taking a look at the forecast for today, you see the European model did show some of those thunderstorms. Going into tomorrow, you can see more thunderstorms at times across the Cascades. Same thing, but to a little bit of a lesser extent on Wednesday. And then going into Thursday, you see a few more, and then Friday, much drier. A couple potential thunderstorms across the Cascades Friday. We have a front offshore there Saturday into Sunday, but it kind of breaks up before it even gets here. And you can see that as we go into Sunday, we have a few more areas of thunderstorms across the Cascades, but overall very calm weather coming up this week. Taking a look at that lightning flash density forecast, you can see predicted these storms across Oregon pretty well, and we do have some chances for storms across parts of the Cascades today. Going into Tuesday, you can see the same thing across Cascades, eastern Washington, and northeast Oregon as well. And these all could have potential to start some fires, so there is a little bit more rain in them than previously. However, the fire threat is still very high. Going into Wednesday, you can see another afternoon of showers and thunderstorms across parts of the Cascades. Same thing on Thursday, but a little bit lesser extent there of these showers and potential thunderstorms. And then going into Friday, you can see very little. And then Saturday, almost none. And then Sunday, just a few very, very scattered weak storms potentially. Even going into next Monday, not all that much activity. So going through this week, this is through Friday night, you can see no rain for most of western Washington, a few hundredths of an inch for the coast. The Cascades getting up to a half inch in some of the heaviest thunderstorms, but most areas getting about a tenth of an inch of rain. That is not enough to put out a fire if there's a lightning-caused fire there. You can see eastern Washington also getting some rain with these storms, but generally not more than a quarter inch. A few isolated areas in mountains may get up over a half inch of rain, but still, that'll calm down a fire. It won't necessarily put it out. And you can see across parts of Oregon where that thunderstorm activity is more likely, and some rain with some of those troughs moving through. You get some higher rain totals down there, but Seattle, Tacoma, Everett, Olympia all look to get no rain this week at all. Taking a look at those high temperatures, Tuesday's highs across the region in the upper 60s to low 70s, maybe some mid 70s from Seattle southward. Same thing on Wednesday, same thing on Thursday. A little bit cooler there on Thursday, upper 60s, low 70s in the interior, and then mid to upper 60s in the coastal regions. Friday and Saturday also in the low to mid 70s across the western Washington interior. And then even going into Sunday of next week there, you can see upper 60s to low 70s. So very typical and somewhat calm weather across the region coming up. But taking a look at that air quality, let's let this refresh here on the Purple Air app, and you can see there high air quality across some areas near the fires, especially Bear Gulch and then parts of eastern Washington. But overall, the western Washington lowlands there, some of those thunderstorms and that rain and showers and stuff that moved through this weekend have really cleared us out, and we do have air quality mainly in the good category across the region, which is really nice to see. Same thing there in Portland and Vancouver, and then along the Washington and Oregon coasts as well. And then let's take a look at that smoke. So as we go into this afternoon, you can see that smoke blowing to the northeast with the prevailing winds, light amounts of smoke aloft, and same thing kind of happens tomorrow as we go through the day. You see that smoke blow north and east with some of those fires. That smoke aloft kind of hangs out across eastern Washington. We get some light to moderate concentrations across western Washington there. And then as that ridge starts to build in going into Wednesday, Thursday, you can see we're going to draw some of this smoke that's sitting out here back into the region in terms of smoke aloft, but still nothing like we had these past few days here when these fires were really, really going a few days ago. Taking a look at surface smoke, you can see again fires pushing off to the north and east each day because of the prevailing winds. Not very much, if any, surface smoke across western Washington. Going into Tuesday evening, you can see very, very light concentrations across western Washington. Eastern Washington not doing too well, especially Spokane with some of that wildcat fire smoke and the smoke off the Sugarloaf fire blowing across a good portion of eastern Washington as well. And going into Wednesday morning, you can see that smoke lingers at times across eastern Washington, and we may get a tiny increase with some northerly flow Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see how that plays out, but overall pretty good air quality across western Washington the next few days, much better than some of the times last week where we had some smoke moving through the area. And then I wanted to point this out, European model ensemble forecast. You can see the control run showing 0 rain for the Seattle area all the way through mid-September to the end of September. The ensemble average showing just under half inch of rain, but we've definitely seen a drying trend here in this forecast over the last few days, so we'll have to wait and see kind of how that plays out. But overall, looking like we're not going to get very much rain in this September, at least through about the 22nd, 23rd on these extended forecasts. So we'll continue watching that, though we may have to wait a little bit longer to get our kind of storm season returning there. So stay tuned for more information on that. And then taking a look at the temperatures over the next couple weeks, you can see pretty average highs in the low to mid 70s and lows in the mid to upper 50s there. So pretty routine for western Washington in September. Not that much of a downward trend though, so we may end up being hotter than average if we keep these 70s going all the way into late September. So stay tuned for more on that as well. Also, just want to point out 5 days left to get 25% off on the Western Washington Weather merch store. The link to this is in the description. It looks like we've been getting some nice orders lately, so thank you to everybody who has placed an order for some merch. There's some really cool stuff on there, so go and check it out in the description below. And thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and even leave a super comment and donate some money if you feel so inclined to the channel. It really would help it grow even more. So be sure to subscribe down below, and also follow the Western Washington Weather Facebook group, my Twitter page, and my Blue Sky account. All of these are in the description below, along with the link to the merch store. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will talk to you all later.